Hello there. Welcome to part 2 of energy, right? So if you joined me the other day, I talked a little bit about the masculine energy and why that's important for everybody, right? So masculine and feminine energy, just to recap, are found in everyone, regardless of gender. We both have the masculine and feminine energy. The masculine energy is the doer. That is the part of you that just gets shit done, right? The feminine can feel kind of useless to us because while she plays a very, very important role, she's not the one who's going to check things off of her box. She is there for the party. She is there to hang out, to be present, to love on people. She is not worried about her to-do list. That is the feminine, right? And so the feminine energy is really important with the masculine energy because you want to harmonize the two. There is no balance here. They are not equal, right? Everybody has a different harmony of these two. Some people spend more time in their masculine, a little bit of time in the feminine. Some people spend a lot of time in their feminine, only a little bit of time in their masculine. Some may be fairly balanced in terms of ratio, but there is a harmony for each of us in the dance between this masculine and feminine energy. I like to call it the dance because if you've ever listened to, I want to say it's the Garth Brooks song, right? Life's a Dance. I don't think it's Garth Brooks. I don't remember now. But it's called Life's a Dance, and it says you learn as you go. Sometimes you lead and sometimes you follow, right? While the feminine can certainly lead, she is probably not the one who's going to take action, right? She's not going to be the one, the feminine's not going to be the one who puts the plan in place and is like, okay, here's what we're doing today, right? Your feminine energy is there because she can be. She's there for the memories. She is there for the present moment. She is there to just be, quite frankly, right? So we absolutely need our feminine because our feminine will recharge our masculine. If we spend way too much time in our masculine, this is what will lead to the burnout, to the stress, to the overwhelm. That is too much time in your masculine, and it needs to be countered with the feminine. Now, I resisted my feminine for a long time because I felt that she was weak and she was useless, right? Like, I had things to do. I couldn't just sit on the couch and eat bonbons all day, right? Like, that was not happening. As a mom, especially a mom of 4, right, there is always something that can be done. And I really believed that my feminine was super useless and I didn't want to spend any time hanging out with that part of me because she was unproductive. She didn't add value to my life at that time. And I couldn't have been more wrong. The feminine is so important when it comes to your masculine and feminine energies, when it comes to the harmony and your ability to create the things that you want in the world, right? So our masculine, very logical, right? This is the one who is probably overthinking. This is the part of you who's like, okay, here are the steps for the thing, right? Your feminine, she is your intuition. She's the part of you that is like, that doesn't feel right. Or, oh my gosh, that feels like so much fun. Let's do that because I love that, right? Like, she's the feeling. She's the intuition. She is the part of you that is just connected, right? She just wants to love life and thinks that it's all rainbows and sunshines, right? Rainbows and unicorns. The feminine, but the beauty of the feminine is that she actually recharges the masculine, right? You think of our phones, our devices, all of our things. They have to be plugged in and recharged. We are no different. We have to recharge ourselves. We've got to take time out of the masculine, even men, right? They have to take time out of that masculine to refuel themselves. And that looks very different for everybody, okay? How you recharge, what your feminine looks like is very different for everybody, okay? So I'm simply going to share on my experience. My feminine is the one who will try to paint. She's not very good at it, but she likes to paint. She's very creative. And so she likes to go for walks in nature and hang out with animals. And, you know, she loves time in her garden because that is so refueling. The beach, the ocean, the sun, right? Receiving all of these elements, that is her main purpose, is to receive, okay? And this is something I talk about in a lot of the work that I do, is that so many of us spend too much time in that masculine doer, giver energy that we don't ever actually counterbalance it with the receiving, that we're stuck spinning our wheels. So let me just explain to you what I mean by this. So I shared on a previous video that the idea of faith and works, faith and action, right? The same is true with your masculine and feminine. If you're in a little rowboat and one side says feminine and the other says masculine, and you're like, well, I want to be productive today, and you're like, well, I'm just going to use my masculine side. If you only steer with that oar, you're going to end up spinning in circles, right? Also, if you only spend time in your feminine, you're going to end up spinning in circles. It is a harmony of the two that will actually get you somewhere. Are they equal? No, probably not. Sometimes you're paddling one more than the other depending on what direction you're headed in, right? But I highly recommend that you use both of these throughout the day, right? So for me, I love to work in 2-hour blocks of time. My masculine thrives in 2-hour blocks of time. And so I'll do 2 hours worth of work, whatever it is, crunch it out, make it happen. And then I will take an hour to not be productive. Because I don't really have anything necessarily to do during that time. Maybe I sit and enjoy my lunch by myself. Maybe I will go for a walk. Maybe I will just casually catch up on, I don't know, an email or return a Voxer message to a client, whatever it is. It is very relaxed and non-directive during that feminine time. The feminine is like, oh, let's just go with the flow. Let's see what I feel like doing, right? That is very much her nature. And the masculine is more directive, right? Like, here's what you're going to do. Here's why we're doing it. Let's figure this out. Very logical, right? The intuition's like, ooh, that's a butterfly over there. Let's go follow the butterfly. It can be infuriating for people, especially if you have that masculine edge. You're like, what do you mean you did nothing all day? You had all day. Why did you do nothing? You're like, well, there was nothing I had to do today. So I didn't do anything, right? Like last weekend, there was literally nothing for me to do on Saturday. And so I sat by my fireplace in our master bedroom and I just watched the fire. And my husband was like, are you gonna get out of that seat today? And I was like, I don't think so. I don't have anything I have to do today. So I'm gonna sit here. And the kids came in the room and they wanted to play memory. And so we played memory and we colored a little bit and we snuggled and whatever it was, but there was nothing that I had to do that day. And so I sat by my fire and I did nothing. It was awesome. I loved it. I was so refueled and energized going into the week, but it may have made somebody else crazy because I didn't do anything. Now, the problem, as I talked about on the last video, is sometimes we get these wires crossed and we try to overdo one versus the other, right? The feminine needs to be in the body, okay? So I have seen so many times people are like, oh, I got my nails done, I got my hair done, it was total spa day, but they're doing it from a masculine place. And that doesn't refuel you, that checks it off the list. Self-care cannot be done from the masculine space. It's not self-care. It's not just something that you can check off your box. Self-care is something that you have to embody. It has to feel right to you. So there are some days where my self-care looks like a run. Other days it looks like yoga. Other days, it's like, I'm not going to do anything because, well, I don't feel like it, right? And so that is, and I allow that, all of that to be okay. I don't judge any of it, because there are days that I really want to go for a run and that feels really great to me. And there are other days where I'm like, you know what? My body needs this stretch. I'm just going to do yoga today. And that's also totally okay, right? The problem is when we try to make it a masculine thing. Self-care is not a masculine thing. It is meant to recharge you. It is not intended to be something that you check off your list. This is why I see some moms get so frustrated because they're like, well, I'm totally exhausted and now I have to do self-care because I promised myself that I would do self-care. That is not the way that self-care is actually going to recharge you, right? For me, some days when my kids were younger, some days self-care was just locking myself in my bathroom and breathing for 5 minutes, or putting on noise-canceling headphones and sitting on my really cozy rug and just being. Just being. Some days it's a dance party and it's going to the trampoline park with my kids or out for a hike with my kids or whatever it is. It is different every day, but those things are not tasks. Right? That is not the purpose of the feminine. She's not concerned with the to-do list. She's concerned about the quality of the time, not the quantity of it, right? So if you see this in your life or in somebody else's life that you know, what I suggest, and this is something I shared the other day, is to give that person permission to just be in their feminine, right? Just let them recharge. And if you're someone who's in your feminine all the time and you're struggling to hang out in your masculine, start with just 20 minutes. Do 20 minutes of something and then go do whatever else it is that you want to do. There is a way that you can find your own harmony in this, and it doesn't have to look anything like I do or anything like anybody else does. We are all unique, and so we've got to listen to what that feels like, right? Intuition-wise, I don't always want to do work on the weekends. There are some weekends where I'm like, yeah, I'm really excited to do this. I'm doing a masterclass, whatever it is, like really excited for that connection on the weekends. But there's some weekends where I'm like, you know what? I'm just connecting with my kids. That's it. That's my boundary around it, whatever it is, right? So I am encouraging you to start to just pay attention to when you're motivated to do the most, because that is when your masculine is firing, and honor it. Let it be. And then recharge yourself with the feminine, where you're connecting with people, you're having a conversation, right? Where you're maybe sitting by the fire, going for a walk, whatever it is. Figure out what refuels you, and that would be your feminine. That's going to be the part of you that just recharges you, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a fabulous rest of your day. I'm going to cut it short here, but I think this was exactly what you all needed. It was certainly what came through. So I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. As always, be big, be bold, and be opulent. Bye.